screen share up. So this is our evac zone. Because you guys are my first period, anytime we have any type of evacuation, you come back to wherever I am at. All right. And now this is a little bit hard to see because this is everybody's. So I have zoomed us in right here. We are going to the 10-yard line on the other side of the field, closer to the big home grandstand. Okay. The much bigger one is where we go. We go in front of Bird's class, because hers is all the way on the edge, and we're after Bosa's class. So we are, if you're looking, coming from the school side, we are in spot 1, 2, 3. Okay? Oops. Wow, that's not at all what I wanted to happen. Let's go back here. So, where's view? There we go. So if you find Bristow classmates, if you find Bose classmates, or if you find Bird classmates, you're in the right spot. If you are not seeing any of those other teachers or other people that you know in those classes, you are not in the correct zone. It is really, really, really important that when we have any type of evacuation, you come straight to my zone, okay? Because you guys are my responsibility, and we want to make sure everybody's safe before we start drifting to other zones, okay? So go to the 10-yard line, but on the one closer to the grandstand side. So if we're looking at the field, this is the new stuff. We are right over here by one of the field goal posts right here on the stadium. And that's where we're going to practice going a little bit later today. So what I have for us planned today, I'll get into here in just a second, because we need to make a new project template for May. So we'll get back to this here in a bit. If we look at your Tuesday, your Tuesday 422 agenda post, one of your expectations was you wanted a little bit more detail in your weekly agenda postings. That is something I can easily do, but it's something I need a little bit of practice with. So hopefully this has enough information for you guys to understand. If it's not yet, please let me know at the end of class, though. Let me know a little bit later so I can start improving these agenda things that you've mentioned. Flex today, like I mentioned earlier, is a teacher offerings, but we do have our evac drill, so just get to where you're going quickly during Flex after today, and know that the fire alarms are going to go off. All right, so what are we doing today? Today we need to configure our template folders for May. Remember, we haven't done this in a little bit. We haven't done it since March. And I want to get a little bit ahead of the May one by doing it in April so we can have a chance to get everything, all the issues figured out before we actually start doing some real, more involved projects. You'll also be able to effectively collaborate on what to include on a group ID page. So that's some of the coding you'll be looking for today, practicing what you maybe haven't done over the last week. And you will also be able to use Hero UI elements to improve your code. So today I'm going to show you the template folder copy pasting again. It shouldn't take as long as it has in the past because we've already extracted it. I'm trying a new PowerPoint method with something called tasks, methods, and outcomes, so you can see what you're supposed to do, how you can do it, and what results are going to happen from doing it in that manner. And then your job today is to create a page about your table group identity. Okay? That's the agenda in more detail, laid out in such a way. The PowerPoint is live. If you click on this resources link, it will take you to this exact PowerPoint that I am presenting right now, with any additional links that might be present or helpful inside of this view. So, before we get into the actual task, I need to give you guys some time to copy and paste your project template folders and configure them for May. Now, since we haven't done this in a bit, I'm going to show you how to do it up here. And then I'm going to give you some time to do it, and you should have it done, let's say, by like 8:35, 8:40 at the latest, I'm thinking. Should be the latest. Okay, this is one option. Best case scenario, you've already got it copied, or you've already got it extracted. So if you go to wherever in OneDrive you've been saving your web design stuff, mine's in admin, for example, you should see something called project template that does not have the big zipper on it. Right? Remember this from March? All you have to do for this first step is copy the unzipped project template, right-click, click on the little copy icon, or you can hit Control-C. I know you know how to do that, but I want to make sure you remember. Control-C, and then go ahead and paste that Control V. Okay? Now, because it's already extracted, it's still going to take a second, but not nearly as long as if you had to unzip it all. So if you've already got this step, you can do this now and start configuring for May. Okay? I know you've also mentioned that you don't want me to lecture as long. I'm trying to be quick about it right now, trying to be more efficient, but I want to make sure you guys see this step before I let you, before I open up the independent workday. While this is extracting, if you've looked forward to your exit task, I have the expectations we collaborated on right here on a nice big sheet with lots of room for signatures. Part of your exit task is to make sure that this still works for what you expect in a class. Sign it, basically ratifying it, and that means we all agree to the expectations that we're laying out, right? So I'll put that in the exit task a little bit later. But anyways, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're 78% through a copy at the moment. It's been 8 minutes, 8 or so minutes. Let's finish this up and rename it. Any day now. Now that I've paid attention, it's going to go slow, of course. But come on. 96, 97. A lot of web designers watching bars go up. Okay, so now I've got this project template copy right here. Just to double check and make sure that it's got everything it needs. It's got 22 items, right? I can see, if I zoom in, down here in the corner, there are 22 pieces of info within my blank template folder. All right? Last step is to rename it and then open it in VS Code. So we're going to rename the project template copy with this guy right here. After right-click, you can also press F2 to rename it. And can anybody remind me the naming scheme that we use for this class? Luke, do you have your hand up?
I think I have to re-enter it. I think my file's gone.
What's up?
I think my template file's gone.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get to that here in a second. Okay, but does anybody remember the naming scheme? What did we do for March? Caden?
Camel case.
Camel case? Okay, what does that mean?
First word is all lowercase.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalize each word out of that.
Gotcha. So if this is my May project folder, we're going to start with May. Sorry, there's a lot of ring on the... There we go. So May 2025. And then I want to separate it with a camel case first last name. So we're going to do Benjamin. I'm going to do my full name this time. Benjamin Blakeney. Okay? Because it looks like the humps on a camel, there's no official spaces. It's going to be easier for my computer to understand, especially on some older systems, some older legacy systems, which means the ones that are not very in date. For example, I don't know what's going to happen with Windows 10 here in October. That's when it officially stops being supported. We will see how long it lasts after that official end support date. So, perfect. We got a camel case name. I'm going to go to VS Code, and I'm going to open up this new folder by going File, Open Folder, and then I'm going to find May 2025 Benjamin Blake. And then this is where we started back in March. This is where you should be ready spaghetti by 8:35. You got 15 minutes to copy your folder, your project template, and then get it renamed and opened in VS Code. All right, that's your first goal. So by 8:35, in 15 minutes, I want to see everybody's May 2025 folder copied, pasted, renamed, opened. Okay? 4 steps. Copied, pasted, renamed, opened. I see the hands. I'll help you here in just a sec, but that's your first task. Okay? I'll be around here in just a sec. The next step in today, so that you get a little refresher on coding, is if we look at the task section of the slideshow. Sorry for the flashbang. Okay, so we've got the new project templates laid out. I would like y'all, as a group, to start a page about your group identity. Oops, I forgot to finish this sentence. Think of this like an about me, but combining each group member into one document. Okay? So, you do not have to all code on the same computer. You can code different versions of the same information, but the first thing you need to establish is what is that information. Things like team names, things like the goals from your entry task, things about your role in the group. What do you succeed at in the web design world? What do you succeed at in the general kind of academic world? I want to see an about your group page that each of you has some kind of contribution to. Now, how this could work is one person adds theirs, sends it to the next person, they add theirs, sends it to the next person, they add theirs. That's one way. You could each do your own and then combine each other's into one page in that way. You could, each of you do a specific part, like one of you is in charge of images, one of you is in charge of text, one of you is in charge of making sure everything is functional, doing like the check-ins and stuff. It's not a group project, but it is about your group. Does that make sense? Task is to use your new project templates, start a page about your group identity. I will remind you how to create a page real quick, but after that, it is on y'all to create such a thing. Again, as you can see right here, I'm leaving this open-ended, how you want to approach it, what information you want to include, but you should have things, hero UI elements, like maybe some buttons, maybe look into cards, maybe look at getting breadcrumbs working, anything that helps you communicate about your group. Man, apparently none of the changes I was making saved. Communicate your group and who's in it. Okay. So the way you can go about this, I kind of skipped to the next stage with methods, is you can use inspiration from other sites. For example, like bands, if you look at if you look at musicians' pages, because there's a lot of different group members in a band with different roles, you can see how they've laid out their about pages. Copy some of that. You could also think like, I was going to say something about like TV shows and the different characters, but that doesn't exactly work like I'd planned. You can reuse existing code that you've already written, adapt it for your new need, called source coding. If you wanted to draw out a layout and then code the layout from the plan, if you kind of wanted to see how things work together. And then I mentioned each group member codes a specific utility. One person's in charge of images, one person text, one person function, stuff like that. But your task still remains to create a page about your group identity. I'll show you how to do that real quick, and then the rest of the period is about doing that. Okay? Work with your groups. Make sure that you're sharing the information with each other, communicating the information back and forth effectively. Let me show you how to make a new page real quick. Okay? Within VS Code, remember, because we're creating something called single page applications, everything has to have its own drawer. And whatever page.tsx folder is inside of the app drawer, right? You can see we're in the app drawer right here because of this line. And this page TSX file is going to be the home page, right? As a reminder. Anytime you want to add an additional piece of functionality, okay, you got to add a new drawer. So to add a new drawer, let me do this real quick. In case you need a reminder, we're going to go fast. Right-click on the app folder, and then click right here on New Folder. And you want the new folder to represent something about its goal or its intention. Okay, so this would be Group About Me. Now, files have no spaces. Files are also camel case. Okay, this is very, very important that your file folder name does not have spaces. Okay, we're going to hit enter on that. Then, on the new drawer that automatically gets selected, right-click, New File, and inside of the drawer goes what type of file? Can anybody remind me? Page.tsx, exactly right. Okay, but our page.tsx is currently blank. What we can do to get the export function so that our HTML actually works is to run to the blog real quick, blog page.tsx, click inside of the coder, Control A, Control C, go back to our group about me, Control V. And the last thing we need to change up is the word blog to be group about me. Okay, notice capital G right here. Capitals for functions, okay? Capitals for functions. This thing right here, anytime you see parentheses, it's relating to a function. Excuse me. It's relating to a function. Okay? Files, let me undo all this real quick. Files are lowercase. Okay? Important difference. And now that we're in the later stages of web design, I want you guys to remember this. Okay. So, now, in between these divs right here is where you can do your regular HTML. This guy, this guy. You can also use hero UI stuff, like buttons and links and images. All stuff that we have covered before in this class. Okay? So you have the rest of the period, which is 15 plus 10 minutes to get started on your group About Me page. I don't expect you to finish it. But talk to your groups, see what kind of information you each want to include, see what kind of things you can each do, how you can help out one another, and just make sure that you are Control-S-ing frequently. There is also, last thing I'll show you, kind of as a little extra treat, there's an autosave feature in VS Code. If you go to File, and then I believe it's in Preferences. I haven't used it in a while. Oh, what if it's called autosave? Right there. Okay, File, autosave. Once you check that, anytime you make a change, pay attention to my my X's up here. Okay, anytime I make a change, let's make a little paragraph element in here. It says this is my first May paragraph. Excuse the spelling. Okay, I don't need to Control-S anymore because it's automatically saving for me. Last thing I'll remind you on is what I talk about as starting your engine. We got to start up our NPM server by going to Terminal, New Terminal, and then don't use PowerShell. We got to use Command Prompt. So click the drop down right here. Let me get rid of that. Click the drop down and then click on Command Prompt, and then run the infamous command npm not tune run dev. All right. Control click on the purple triangle, and that will get us to wherever my title of my site is. Oh, that's what my project template says. So, code your page. I am also just now remembering we need to attach it to the config site.ts. So if you remember how to do that, this is where you'll do that here. If you do not remember how to do that, refer to some of the videos, refer to your group members, refer to me as I walk around. That is something that you should know how to do. So, Control-S, code your group About Me page is your task at the moment. And I'm going to close the screen share for the time being.